Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight, first of all, I just want to say thank you to everybody for being patient with me. I'm not quite all set up yet, but I am officially, this is the first video from the new apartment. So, with that being said, let's take a look at our commander. We are running Lev Galler with Andrew Cunningham and Scharnhorst as our inspirations. Flammable Cannoneer, Gyrating Drill Bits, Collective Labor, Reaching Out XXL, and Will to Rebuild. Now, if we go here, we are running Aiming Systems Mod 1 and Steering Gears Mod 2. Loadout. We have 4 damage controls, thanks to our Collective Labor. 2 heals, 3 enhanced targeting. We are running Community Contributor Flag and the Type 2 Camo. Stats, survivability, 55,900 hit points with a 16% torpedo damage reduction. Artillery, you have 356mm 52 caliber model 1913s. You get 12 of those. They reach out to 17.4 kilometers and reload in 33 seconds. 180 degree turn time is 40 seconds, which is not particularly good. HE shell maximum damage is 5408 with a 38% chance to set fires. AP shell maximum damage 11,550. Secondary armament 130mm 55 caliber 1913s. You have 10 of those that reach out to 4.2 kilometers and fire every 12 seconds. HE maximum damage is 1900 with a 9% chance to set fires. Then you have the 130mm 55 caliber B2Us that you have 8 of that reach out to 4.2 kilometers and reload in 5 seconds. The HE shell maximum damage is 1900 with an 8% chance to set fires. AA defense. You have 12.7mm Dushkas. You have 10 of those that do 36 damage per second and reach out to 1.2 kilometers. Then you have the 37mm 70Ks that you have 8 of that reach out to 3.2 kilometers and have a 46 damage per second. Then you have the 37mm 66Ks that you have 24 of that do 97 damage per second and reach out to 3.5 kilometers. Then the 37mm 46K that you have 8 of that do 24 damage per second and reach out to 3.5 kilometers. Maneuverability. Maximum speed is 25.7 knots with an 830 meter turning circle. Rudder shift time is just 9.6 seconds with this build. So the rudder shift on this thing is pretty good. The turning rate, not the greatest. It's not bad. I mean, 830 meters, not bad for a turning circle for a battleship. But the rudder shift is nice because it allows you to be shifty, allows you to get the rear end out to get those guns to bear when you can. Concealment. Detectability by sea is 14.4 kilometers. Detectability by air is 11.5 kilometers. The guaranteed is always 2 kilometers and 11.5 kilometer detectability while firing in smoke. Now, let's look at the downside of this ship, and that is its armor. Its armor is bad, guys. For the Russian ships, this is, in my opinion, the worst ship in the line. The 2 that come previous it, fantastic. The 2 that come after it are pretty good as well. Sinop is really good. Vladdy can be iffy. But I've got great games in both of those that I think you guys are going to enjoy. But first, we got to get through this. So, right off the bat, you can see that it does have an icebreaker bow, or whatever you want to call it. It's got the armor belt that goes all the way to the bow that is 113 millimeters thick. So, if they shoot at your waterline, they're not going through. They'll just ricochet or shatter. But, if you look up, you've got that 25 millimeter hull plating for the bow, which means you can still be overmatched through the bow. And that is by 15-inch guns and above. So if they aim a little higher, they can absolutely punch you through the bow. Now, the other bad thing about this ship is all of these little cutouts for the secondaries that you see. There's a lot of flat spots that even while you're really well angled, can serve as easy penetrations and potentially citadels for the enemy battleships that are shooting back at you. So you've got to be very, very careful when you try to angle in this ship, because the armor will let you down more often than not. But if we get rid of all of that and we go in here and we look at the citadel, you can see that the citadel is raised, and this is what I'm talking about with being able to be hit. So you can see all these flat spots where the turrets are. Whoops. All these flat spots in here, those are just gateways to the citadel. They are higher than the citadel, but most rounds when they're coming in are coming in a slightly angled downward. So they hit that armor that's flat, and they go right through and into the citadel, and you have a bad time. So out of all of this line, this is my least favorite ship. So keep that in mind. That being said, it's not a bad ship. It's just in the line, it's my least favorite. Alright, so let's look at the overview. Superior AP penetration. This is the Russian trait you guys should all know by now, above average AP shell penetration. Guns aplenty. You still have 12 guns, which is fantastic. Allows for those ridiculous broadsides when people give you stupid shots. Like, I don't understand what the thought process for people is when they go broadside on in front of a ship that has 12 or 16 guns. Like, it doesn't make sense to me, but people do it. And then you have the on-demand repairs. Damage control party reloads faster but has limited charges. Izmail, a battle cruiser which at the time of her laying down claimed to be the world's most powerful warship. She was very similar to battleship Gangit in terms of her layout and armor type, but differed in her larger size, speed, and 356mm main guns. She was designed in 1912, but she was never built. Which is interesting. It was designed in 1912. It says a battle cruiser at the time of her laying down, so I'm just assuming this was started but never finished. Much like the other two Iowas, Kentucky and... oh god. I can't remember the other Iowas. Guys, help! I know Kentucky. I can't remember the other one. Anyway, somebody's gonna, like, give me crap in the comments. I apologize. But let's take a look at it. It's not a bad-looking ship. I do like the quad turrets, man. That's pretty good. It's just something about these Russian battleships. Just, you know, while they're not the prettiest ships in the world, there's something to be said for their layout, man. That's pretty awesome, in my opinion. But that being said, while she isn't the prettiest ship in the world, she can be quite effective, as we're about to showcase in this one. So, let's get to the gameplay. Alrighty, so we are going to be on Sleeping Giant, and we are in the Izmail. Now, there are games that, despite your best efforts, just never end up in your favor. This is one of those games. I am going to do my absolute darndest to win in this one. But the people around me are just going to be completely and utterly hopeless. And you guys will see that coming up. So, with that being said, let's get this party started. Now, what should you know about the Izmail that I haven't already talked about? Well, the limited firing range kind of sucks. So, it may be one of those ships that you decide that you want to run the Epic Battle Booster on, just to increase that range a little bit. Because 17.9 kilometers, you're not actually effective at that kind of range usually in this thing. You can be. Sometimes this thing will just go full railgun on you, which is really nice when it happens, as we'll showcase in a moment, because I was really surprised when it happened. You guys will see it. But yeah, this game in particular is going to be an interesting one. I like to initially, in a battleship, when I spawn on this side, push up to this island, giving myself enough space that if something gets spotted, I can shoot over the island without being detected, but also being able to lob over the island. So, just until I know what's over here. Once I know what I'm up against, if I think that I have the advantage, I will push out and start moving forward. So, that's how I play this map when I spawn here in a battleship. I've tried pushing into the inside. That generally ends in tears because it limits your ability to move around, and it traps you for the destroyers. Like, you just end up eating torpedoes eventually. Now, the one thing I will say is if you sit here too long in this spot area, there is a window where you know you have the gap between the islands, to our right, that if you're not paying attention, the enemy can and will exploit, and you will not have a good time. But right off the bat, Akatsuki gets the Benham spotted, and we have a cruiser right here as well. But between the cruiser and the Akatsuki, those guys cannot do anything to the Benham. Like, they just straight up can't do anything to the Benham. And, yeah, I don't understand it. You can see they just did a little bit of damage there. But for the most part, I do all of this man's health and damage. Like, that one hit that they got, I think, is the only hit that they're going to get on him the entire time. Now, the Akatsuki obviously had to drop smoke and turn away. He's being focused by not only the Benham, but another cruiser at some point. I just tried to destroy my mouse. Whoopsie. Anyway, the Graf is starting to push in, which is fine because, I mean, he has 5 kilometer sonar. He should be able to easily deal with the Benham. Unfortunately, that isn't the way this works out. But he is going to contest the base, which is a good thing. And now you can see with very little out ahead of me, and you can see where they are on the map, or their last knowns on the map, I start getting pretty confident that I can push this side. And you can see we get another hit on the Benham there over the island blind. We've taken about half his hit points at this point. Then I noticed the North Carolina coming over here. Now, obviously, being bottom tier sucks. Being bottom tier in a ship that has spotty armor, much worse. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and keep our push up. We're going to pay attention to where that North Carolina is. Make sure he's not going to get a good shot on us. But we are going to keep trying to get rid of this Benham. You can see he's speeding up, trying to get out of the way of the torpedoes. We get a full broadside out, and we get a couple of nice hits. 3 overpins on him, taking him down to just a third of his hit points left. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, nobody's able to do anything. The Graf Spee has pushed back inside, so he doesn't really have a shot at the Benham anymore. I should have probably taken the shot at the Benham here, but the North Carolina is giving me a pretty juicy shot. So I'm going to go ahead and take it. And he's not even paying attention to the fact that I even exist. He has no idea that I'm here, which is good, because when you're in a Tier 6 battleship with 16-inch guns, I don't want you to know that I'm here. But first shot out, we get a pretty solid hit. I want to say it was about 11,000 damage there. But the Benham is still here. Now, unfortunately, I can't shoot him now because he's behind the island from me. So my arc is too flat. I can't lob the island. And here is the sketchy moment. All right. I am in a full turn out, trying not to get smashed by this North Carolina. And luckily for me, his shells just fall a little short. Now, unfortunately for me, I managed to absolutely punched that man in the mouth for 2 citadels and took all of his hit points. But I'm also going to run aground, which is not preferable. And then after that amazing salvo that we just got, this ship is going to show you exactly what I'm talking about with the medium to long range accuracy being sus. It's just, it has a way of just not allowing you to finish a target. Now here, again, not a big problem. The North Carolina manages to miss, and our shells go a little long, just enough to miss his superstructure. Because that's what I was aiming for. I was aiming for the superstructure. I actually thought he was going to turn out a little bit more, and he didn't. But he is now. So, unfortunate for us. And you can see the Benham was spotted there for a moment, and is still spotted. I could probably shoot the Benham right now. But then I get a look at this Nuremberg, and it's hard to pass up a shot at a Nuremberg. You know what I'm saying? It really is. But anyway, he turns out, so I take the shot at the North Carolina. North Carolina gets a really good salvo, gets 9,900 damage on us, and knocks out one of our turrets. And once again, just shows that I just cannot finish the man off. And he's being willed to rebuild it, plus he's got a heal, so he's got all the things. I don't have a gun loaded to finish this Benham, who has no hit points. The man has no hit points, and is floating around. He is a corpse on the ocean right now. And you can see I'm going to look down the sights, try to figure out where he's at. He's still moving forward, and he's turning out to the left. So I'm like, okay, we take the shot, and I'm assuming he's dead. But unfortunately, you know what assuming does. So, didn't work out. And we have 62,000 damage, largely in part to that North Carolina going broadside in front of us, like, I don't know why. But, yeah, we appreciate it. 2 citadels on him stacks up pretty quick. But we have pushed these guys back. Between me pushing up, there's a battleship on the inside pushing up as well. The Grefschbe is kind of indecisive, sitting in the middle of the island. And you can see I am trying to finish this North Carolina off. I need those 16-inch guns gone. And, yeah, just not getting the dispersion that we need. We get a penetration here and there, but not getting the dispersion that we need. And then the Nuremberg does the unthinkable. He backs out beyond the island, likely to try to launch torpedoes at us, and he's lobbing us and giving me the most beautiful shot that I could ever ask for. And he's now changing direction. So what do? We anticipate that he's going to keep going forward. We fire the guns and wait for it. Pow! Dropping the bomb, getting him with 2 citadels, the Death Strike, all of the damage, and we are now broadside to 3 battleships, which is not where you want to be in any battleship, let alone a Russian battleship. But thank God the Tennessee is firing HE at us, and the Leon out there, who is firing armor-piercing, isn't the scariest thing in the world when you're in a Russian battleship. Now, he aims a little too far forward, and most of his shells do nothing. He gets maybe a penetration or so, but he is sitting broadside to me as well, and I'm going to feast off of that. First shot, not a lot of damage, only 6,100, but that gives us our high caliber already. But don't worry, guys, we're not done yet. Oh, no. We are going to absolutely put on a clinic for these guys, just how armor-piercing and good shot placement, as well as people sailing around broadside to you all the time, just helps give you a lot of damage. So we're gonna get a shot out here on the Tennessee, who once again sailing broadside on, just begging for it. Well, I guess he's not really broadside to us. He's kind of angled out a little bit, but we get about 6, maybe 7,000 damage there. Not a huge hit, but solid. Puts us over 100,000. We're at 103,000 damage. Leon is back to sailing broadside to us again, so we're going to get ready to take that shot, because why wouldn't you? I mean, if he's going to give it to me, I mean, might as well. Now, he gets his full broadside out, and I'm like, okay, I should be able to tank this. Like, his little guns aren't that big of a threat to me. And sure enough, I can. And he cannot. As we return fire and hit him for a sizable amount of damage. That was, what, roughly 112, or no, that was, what, 12,000 damage, give or take? Not bad. But, again, can't really get a shot on the Leon, so we're going to go back to shooting the Tennessee, who is also about to swing out and give us a nice, juicy shot. So, we're going to take it. Sometimes it really is this easy, guys. And this is why I said in the match, I was like, man, if I just had one person on this side of the map that actually was useful. But they're not. This destroyer is all the way at maximum range, launching torpedoes. I got rid of the cruiser. The guy should be able to hit these guys with torpedoes. But unfortunately, it's just not going to work out for us. And look at the placement of our other destroyer on the other side of the map. All the way out at the border. This is not how you play destroyers, guys. It really isn't. So, you know, just learn to play is all I can say. Just learn to play. We get another juicy shot at the Leon. We knock out one of his guns temporarily. We're up to 139,000 damage and feeling pretty good, even though I know that this is a losing effort at this point. Like, this is a very, very big losing effort at this point. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to keep fighting, because that's what I do. I keep fighting. Leon's still over-angled, sailing mostly broadside to us. He's not going to enjoy it. I don't know why people do this, and I should have slowed down to give my guns time to reload here, because we punched him, and I would have been able to get him off the board, because he's hell-bent on getting around that island to the front side of the island, for whatever reason. The battleship that's behind me in the sea cap literally is in a position where he can't shoot anything. So I'm not sure exactly what he's doing. But unfortunately, York and Benham go out there and... not Benham. York manages to go out and get rid of our Akatsuki. Benham manages to get rid of our Scharnhorst that was camping in the back. And remember, that Benham had no health. and the Scharnhorst manages to do nothing to him to finish him off. So, honestly, no idea what that guy was doing. But we have 37,000 hit points. We're being HE spammed by a Tennessee and a York, so I've got to be careful here. And we know there's a Benham nearby, but we also know there's a second destroyer somewhere around here. Now, Tennessee opens up and just gives me the shot of dreams, so I'm going to take that. And it's about this point that the, what do you call it? The freaking York gets a second fire on me. And this, inevitably, is going to be my demise. There's the second fire. I rush too quickly to put out that fire. And then I turn out to get the guns involved. And the moment I turn out, I catch a torpedo. If I'd have just kept sailing straight for a little longer. But nope, we catch the torp, and of course it floods because every torpedo ever floods every time. Especially after your damage con just went down. And because of that, there's nothing that we can do. We go ahead, take one last shot at the Tennessee superstructure, hoping to remove him from the map. And we do manage to take him down. And then the Benham's torps, luckily, run out just in time. But it doesn't matter. We're going to flood to death before we get another shot. The Akatsuki managed to finish it off. We did everything we could, and this is just one of those matches. You're just destined to lose. The team just refuses to do anything useful and ends up losing the match. Bad destroyer play causes bad games, and there's nothing you can do about it. If anybody had been able to finish off the Benham, the Scharnhorst maybe wouldn't have had to sit back as long as he did. Maybe he gets up there to help me a little bit. Pushing out as far as I did, probably not the brightest play in the world. Chasing is not usually a good thing, but with the shots they were giving me, I knew I could kill them, and I knew there was a second destroyer out there. Was kind of hoping that I'd get lucky. And unfortunately, I did not. Now this, what transpires with this York, only just proves my point in this one. He blows his torpedoes too early. The North Carolina easily dodges, and now the North Carolina is going to push up on him. And rather than turning away from the North Carolina and getting the other side of his torpedoes off, he's going to bow tank a 16-inch battleship and a cruiser that does not have a 30mm bow. Waited for it, and let me know how that works for you, Sunshine. 3, 2, 1, yeah. And then, just to reiterate the point, this guy manages to get himself spotted, and with 20 seconds left, he's gonna die too. So, we did everything we could. 165,000 damage in a tier 5 battleship is not bad, especially being bottom tiered. So, let me know what you guys think of the Izmail. Do you think it's the worst in the line, like I do? It's not a bad ship. It's just, but you know, when you're playing the other ships, they're much better. Top of the leaderboard, though, 1,950 base XP and a loss. That's not too shabby. So if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.